For years, the global far right seemed united by a single illusion: that Donald Trump was not just an American president, but the political spearhead of a worldwide nationalist rebellion. From Paris to Berlin, from Rome to Budapest, Trump was celebrated as the man who broke the rules, defied liberal elites, and spoke the language of sovereignty louder than anyone else. But then came Greenland, and suddenly, something cracked. Today on Wikivedia Plus, we will explore how a frozen island exposed the deepest contradiction inside the global far-right alliance. Let's dive in. To understand why Trump's Greenland ambitions shocked Europe's right-wing parties, we must first understand that Greenland was never really about Greenland. It is about geography, power, and an old American instinct that never truly disappeared. The United States has viewed Greenland as a strategic asset since World War II, when Nazi Germany and the Allies both understood that whoever controlled the Arctic controlled future trade routes, missile trajectories, and early warning systems. This logic did not vanish with the Cold War, it simply went quiet. When Trump revived the idea of acquiring Greenland, many treated it as a joke, another impulsive headline. But within Washington's strategic circles, the idea was anything but absurd. Climate change is melting Arctic ice faster than predicted, opening shipping routes that could rival the Suez Canal. Beneath Greenland's ice lie rare earth minerals critical for modern warfare, renewable energy, and advanced technology. And above all, Greenland sits like a silent watchtower between North America, Russia, and Europe. Here is where the hidden conflict begins. European far-right parties like France's National Rally or Germany's AfD are built on one sacred word: sovereignty. Their entire political identity rests on rejecting external control, foreign interference, and imperial pressure, especially from the United States. For years, they tolerated Trump's dominance because it served their narrative. Trump attacked the EU, mocked NATO, and weakened liberal institutions they despised. But Greenland changed the equation. Trump's plan was not framed as cooperation. It was framed as acquisition, ownership, control, and suddenly, nationalist movements that cheer America first were forced to confront an uncomfortable question: if America comes first, what happens to everyone else? This is the contradiction the mainstream rarely explains. The far-right alliance was never a partnership of equals, it was a temporary alignment of anger. Trump's worldview is not nationalist in the European sense, it is imperial in the American sense. American nationalism has always assumed global reach. European nationalism, especially in countries scarred by occupation and division, is defensive. When Trump spoke of Greenland, European right-wing leaders heard echoes of something they thought they opposed: great powers deciding the fate of smaller nations without consent. There is another layer that rarely reaches public debate. Greenland is formally part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but it has its own autonomous government and a long history of resisting external domination. Supporting Trump's plan would have placed European far-right parties in direct opposition to the principle of people's self-determination they claim to defend. Worse, it would expose them as selective nationalists defending sovereignty only when it suits them, behind closed doors. This caused panic. Endorsing Trump openly would alienate voters who fear American influence just as much as Brussels. Opposing him publicly, however, risked breaking the myth of a unified global right-wing front. The result was something rare in modern politics: hesitation, silence, and eventually, criticism. This moment also revealed a deeper geopolitical truth. Europe's far right does not want a strong European Union, but it also does not want a Europe reduced to an American backyard. Trump's Greenland plan symbolized a future where Europe is strategically irrelevant, a continent whose borders are respected rhetorically but ignored practically. For nationalist movements built on restoring dignity and power, this was unacceptable, and so Greenland became a mirror. It reflected back a reality many supporters did not want to see. Trump was never fighting for global sovereignty. He was fighting for American leverage. The same instincts that push Washington to challenge China, pressure allies, and dominate trade routes are the instincts behind Greenland. When those instincts collided with European nationalism, the alliance cracked. This tension will not disappear. As climate change accelerates Arctic competition, similar conflicts will emerge again over energy, security, and influence. Each time, the far right will be forced to choose between ideology and interest, between cheering American disruption and defending European autonomy. In the end, Greenland was not a diplomatic misstep, it was a stress test. And it revealed that the global far right is far less unified than it appears. Beneath the slogans and shared enemies lies an old truth of geopolitics: when power is at stake, even allies turn into rivals. This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new phase where nationalism collides with empire and rhetoric collapses under reality. And the ice, slowly melting in the Arctic, is silently watching it all unfold. This was Wikivedia Plus. If this analysis changed the way you see global politics, tell us in the comments. Do you think nationalist movements can survive without confronting American power directly? Don't forget to subscribe, suggest future topics you want us to uncover, and join us in the next deep dive.